and I quote, "I'll be there in a minute. Give me a second."
Time is relative, folks. Time is relative.
Yes. So, hey, cheers to everybody in the chat.
They're a division rival. I don't care how many wins they get. Screw them.
That wasn't the take I was expecting to hear.
I want to gush over watching live Chris Tanev.
I think that we completely underestimate the skill it takes to play defense.
One highlight or several highlights does not a Calder trophy make.
I'm stepping in here. I'm going to be the crotchety old man here. They need to learn patience. They need to understand the tension and everything and the drama.
How dare! Look at this! How is McDavid not getting a penalty?
You guys need to calm down with this, okay? You guys need to calm down with it.
Well, hello and welcome to the Shifts and Pucks News Pack for Tuesday, March the 6th. Of course, you can follow us all on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. As it's a game day for the Flames, it's a game day for the Canucks. So we'll get into that. We're down the stretch in the WHL and a major leaf acquisition on LTIR today as well. So, and as well in Tampa, we had a benching this weekend as well. So we'll get into all of that, but we will start in Dallas as the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars renew their rivalry or their game from the playoffs last season. Doesn't look like this will be a matchup that will be in the playoffs this year. The Flames, of course, are coming in with into this down by 6 points in the standings here. Of course, after just quite frankly one of their worst. It's in the category of one of their worst games of the year. The fans booed them off the ice. They lost 3-0. It quite frankly didn't look as close as 3-0. Jacob Markstrom kept them in the game. Very little energy, very little of anything of inspiration from a team that needed a win. Quite frankly, they didn't get anything from that. And that hole keeps digging, and the Nashville Predators have now passed them in the standings and have 3 games in hand. So realistically, at this point, the Flames are actually technically 7 points behind the Winnipeg Jets with the Flames and the Jets playing the same amount of games, 63 games. But the Preds have only played 60 games, so they have 22 games left. It's just not looking good for the Flames at this point. So every game must win. Got to take it one game at a time. All of that is true. But we'll see where the Flames are at. In terms of their lineup, it looks like Nick Ritchie, who they acquired on the trade deadline on Friday, along with Troy Stecher, will make his debut. Looks like that line will be playing on a line with Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau. The Jacob Pelche will move to the line of Elias Lindholm and Tyler Toffoli. They will keep Michael Backlund, Andrew Mangiapane, and Blake Coleman together. Dylan Dubé moves to center on the 4th line with Milan Lucic and Trevor Lewis. So Walker Duehr not going to play tonight. I think some people find that a curious decision because Walker Duehr has played really well. But Trevor Lewis kills penalties. And Dylan Dubé might give him a little bit more speed at center. Something I heard one theory being bandied about out there. So heard that from Peter Loubardias today, that moving Dylan Dubé might help the speed up the middle, and he does play well with Milan Lucic. Lucic remaining in the lineup. I know there's a lot of Flame fans that would question that decision, but that's the line. Defensively, of course, they're remaining the same. So it will be Rasmus Andersson with Mackenzie Weegar. I've liked that pair. I think they've played pretty well. I think Mackenzie Weegar seems a bit rejuvenated. He was one guy that showed up on Saturday when the Flames are playing the Wild. You have Chris Tanev and Noah Hanifin. You have Troy Stetcher, who made his debut on Saturday when Nikita Zadorov, and Jacob Markstrom, who's put together 2 really strong games in a row. See if he can get a third here to give the Flames the chance to win the game tonight. As far as the lines for the Stars, what is projected or what is expected tonight, we've got looking at here, we've got the Rupe Hintz, Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski. That might be one of the better lines in hockey. Wyatt Johnson with Jamie Benn and newly acquired Evgeny Dadonov. He was acquired about a week ago for Denis Gurianov to Montreal. Tyler Seguin with newly acquired Max Domi, who they got at the trade deadline, and Mason Marchment. Radek Faksa, Joel Hivaranta, and Kyle Delandria. Defensively, Miro Heiskanen with Colin Miller, Esa Lindell with Yanni Hakanpää, Ryan Suter with Niels Lundqvist, and Jake Ottinger, who made quite an impression in last year's playoffs for the Dallas Stars. He gets the call and goal. The Stars right now, they are in a very tough central race, are sitting in first place with 81 points. They've won 3 in a row at 34-16 and 3 points ahead of the Minnesota Wild. Colorado, losing to Seattle yesterday in overtime, is in third place. So Stars, if the playoffs started today, their first round matchup would be the Edmonton Oilers. Stars, I kind of put them as one of the losers in the trade deadline. They didn't make that huge pickup in the off season, or in the trade deadline, that I think didn't make that huge impact. But I guess you can counter watching Vegas like yesterday, Teddy Bluger and Barbashev and their acquisitions that were pretty crafty. So maybe I could be wrong on that, but we'll watch Dallas. We'll see what they look like tonight. It is Dallas and Calgary. The as aforementioned Nashville Predators, who had quite a significant trade deadline. You traded out Tanner Jeannot for 5 draft picks. You traded Matthias Ekholm for picks and prospects to the Oilers. And lo and behold, they've won 2 in a row. They've won 5 of their last 6, and they're coming into Vancouver, a very hot team. So they will be playing the Canucks tonight. The Canucks will go with Arthur Silov. He is an emergency call-up. Colin Delia is sick. Rick Tocchet talking about not wanting to play Thatcher Demko 5 or 6 games in a row, so giving him some little bit of rest right now. The Canucks are well out of a playoff position, so you don't need to run Thatcher Demko out every game. Give Silovs a chance, and of course they played a really good game, a very entertaining game on Saturday against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and seen a bit more structure overall in the Vancouver Canucks game. It's obviously there, lots of other things to talk about with the Canucks in terms of off-season questions, but they have last end, by the way, the Vancouver Canucks do have a better record than the Calgary Flames. 4-5-1 the last 10, the Canucks. Flames 2-5-3. So, if you're part of Team Tank in Vancouver, you're probably may not be super happy about that, but we'll see what happens tonight. Quinn Hughes, fastest to 200. Guy that has had a quietly good year in Vancouver despite everything that has been going on here. Maybe not be getting the recognition that he deserves, but it's tough to get that type of recognition when your team is not in a playoff spot. But he breaks Brian Leach's record for fewest NHL games to 200 assists. He's been a rock steady defenseman despite everything that has happened to him, for sure. The lines that it looked like the Canucks will bring out will be Pedersen, Kuzmenko, and Beauvillier, JT Miller, Philip Di Giuseppe, and Brock Besser, Neil Zaman, Dakota Joshua, Connor Garland, and you got Sheldon Dries, Vitaly Kravtsov, and Vasily Podkolzin. Kravtsov and Podkolzin seem to have some chemistry together. Kravtsov, of course, acquired from the New York Rangers as part of trade deadline. And so those are the lines. On defense, Quinn Hughes is paired with Noah Juleson. Guillaume Brisebois paired with Tyler Myers. Christian Wolanin, who's been pretty solid, playing with Kyle Burrows. For the Preds, their lines look like this. It's Luke Evangelista centering Kiefer Sherwood and Tommy Novak. Cody Glass, Rasmus Asplund, who was a trade deadline acquisition, and Matt Duchene. Mark Jankowski, former Flame with Yakov Trenin and Philip Tomasino. Colton Sissons, John Leonard, Cole Smith. On defense, Dante Fabro, who they signed a 1-year contract to during trade deadline, plays with Roman Josi. Ryan McDonough playing with Tyson Berry. Cal Foote, who they got in a Tanner Janot trade as with Jeremy Lazon. And UC Saros is in goal as well. So you have the Preds have a couple of injuries, key injuries. Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, upper body injuries. So the Preds, as mentioned, 6 points behind Winnipeg, 3 games in hand on both the Jets and the Flames. So a win here for the Predators can get them back closer to that playoff spot. And Winnipeg is sliding. I know they came away with that big 7-5 win against the Oilers, but they have not looked great for a while. And if they keep stumbling and the Predators, even the Flames, but more the Predators, find a way to keep winning, who knows? Who knows? So that's what's fascinating there. So as for the other games in the NHL, we've got some key matchups, some key games going on for sure. Here, the San Jose Sharks are playing those Winnipeg Jets. Of course, the Sharks well out of the playoff spot in the Connor Bedard conversation in terms of lottery. Winnipeg, of course, talking about it, holding that second wild card spot. They are 3-6-1 in their last 10, and they're playing. So they're hosting San Jose. You've got. So as far as that matchup goes, you've got David Riddick looking like he might be getting a call in goal tonight. We'll see about that. James Reimer getting a call for San Jose. Also, as we continue on here, the Edmonton Oilers are taking on the Buffalo Sabres. The Oilers are holding that first wild card spot, 2 points behind Seattle, who have won 4 in a row and have a game in hand on the Oilers. So they're taking on a Buffalo Sabres team that is also getting really hot right. Well, they're starting to get there. 6-4. They don't have a great home record, Buffalo. They're 13-16-2, but they're 3 points behind Pittsburgh for that wild card spot. Looks like Stuart Skinner gets the call for the Oilers tonight, and for the Sabres, it looks like it will be Craig Anderson. And then we've got also tonight, we've got other games, the Ottawa Senators, who are rolling right now. They are 3 points back with winning 7 of the last 10, 5 in a row. Jacob Chychrun just adding some juice in this lineup that just feels, the Ottawa Senators feel like they are getting it together at the right time. They're facing the Chicago Blackhawks. Cam Talbot gets the start in goal. So that's what's going on there for the Blackhawks. Will start Peter Mrazek. And as well, the other game tonight is the Washington Capitals and the Los Angeles Kings. And the Capitals, they sold as well at the trade deadline. They're sitting 3 points back. They've all of a sudden won 2 in a row. So we'll see where they're at. Really, Darcy Kemper getting a call in goal. Phoenix Copley starting for the Kings. Jonas Korpisalo, of course, part of the trade from the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of trade deadline. he's the backup there. So that is the lines today for that is the lineup for the National Hockey League today. As we look at the 3 stars of the week, we've got Dmitry Orlov, who had a great game against the Calgary Flames this week, had 9 points in 4 games, part of that acquisition with Garnet Hathaway from the Washington Capitals. It's +7 as well. Really finding his home in Boston. 2 assists against the Oilers on February, 2 goals in a 4-3 overtime win against Buffalo, 3 points heading back home in a 7-1 win over Buffalo. So Dmitry Orlov really starting off very well with the Boston Bruins. So he's the first star of the week. Claude Giroux, 9 points as well, +7 rating, 5 straight wins, as I mentioned, for the Senators. Made a huge statement against the Detroit Red Wings this week with 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, 4 points on February 27th, 2 points February 28th. By the way, the Senators beat the Red Wings 6-2, 6-1 in that game, outscoring them 12-3, and then added 3 more points in a comeback win against the New York Rangers. So Claude Giroux starting to make dividends in Ottawa. It's the second star of the week. And Philip Gustafson, who got the shutout against the Calgary Flames, stopped 70 of 71 shots, 2-0, 0.48 goals against average this week. He, as mentioned, the 3-0 win and against Calgary and a 2-1 win against the New York Islanders on February 28th. So Dmitry Orlov, Claude Giroux, Philip Gustafson, your 3 stars of the week. Some bad news out of Toronto, of course. Ryan O'Reilly hit a puck on his hand in that game Saturday against the Vancouver Canucks. He has a broken finger, so he's on long-term injured reserve. He is expected to be back before the playoffs. So it was an Austin Matthews shot that hit him. So he's going to be out for a minimum of 10 games. Sheldon Keefe does say he's expected to be back prior to the playoffs. And so that is what's going on there. I mean, really, with this entire acquisitions, all of the things that Toronto Maple Leafs have done have been not about the regular season for the rest of the regular season. It has nothing to do with March. I don't even think the record matters in March, but too much. I mean, they're 5 points ahead of Tampa. They should have home ice advantage. I say should have home ice advantage against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but it's about what happens after April 12th. Well, that lineup needs to be set and ready for the Leafs after April the 12th, and they need Ryan O'Reilly to be ready. So that's what's going on there. Speaking of Tampa Bay, one of the big stories of the weekend was what happened in this weekend with the Tampa Bay Lightning. John Cooper benches the line of Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, and Nikita Kucherov for the third period against the Buffalo Sabres. They lose 5-3 to the Sabres. John Cooper talks about that they've set this high standard and this high bar, and they have, obviously. So, it came out and expected the Lightning to come out and play a really good game against the Carolina Hurricanes yesterday. They lost 6-0 to the Carolina Hurricanes, and they have now lost 5 in a row. Stamkos said today that you can't turn this on. It's not like a switch. You can't turn it on and off, but they do have to get it together. And, they've got some other injuries right now as well. You've got Eric Chernak that is hurt. You've got Victor Hedman that looks like that is injured as well in Tampa Bay. So, this is another team that's going to want to, obviously, just from their Tampa Bay's perspective, they will need to get healthy, and they're going no further than I don't think anybody is expecting Buffalo, Ottawa, or Florida to quite frankly catch them. So we're well aware of this first round matchup, but it's about getting Tampa healthy. Also, they'll also need to get healthy. So, You wonder, just from Tampa Bay's perspective, on that blue line, do they have enough? Has Morgan Riley taken that step up? And has Vector had been taking a step back? That's one thing I'm wondering, as well as we prepare for that Tampa-Toronto series that I think will be one of the bigger series. That will be the one that a lot of people will pay attention to, whether you love the Leafs or you hate the Maple Leafs. It's going to be that's going to be a must-watch series on so many levels. And one of the more fascinating series that we will watch after April the 12th. And, as far as other, as far as that is basically the NHL story. Well, let's focus on the WHL. We're down the stretch run here in the WHL. We haven't had a chance, because I haven't been doing these, we haven't had a chance to look at the WHL, but we're getting, in terms of the playoff teams, you've got, lots of teams have kind of locked things down in the East. 3 teams have clinched a playoff spot. It's actually kind of wild in what's going on between Moose Jaw and all the way to Calgary, quite frankly, here in terms of getting a playoff here. Winnipeg Ice, of course, are running away with the Eastern Conference standings. They're 16 points ahead of the Red Deer Rebels. And then you got Saskatoon as well in there. And then Moose Jaw, Lethbridge, Regina. Looks like Regina is facing Saskatoon in the that might be a first round matchup. But Saskatoon has not lost a regulation game in at least 10. And you got Swift Current battling with Calgary and Medicine Hat there for the bottom spots. West, the Thunderbirds are on a 13-game winning streak. And by the way, Saskatoon, a 10-game unbeaten streak. Seattle on a 10-game unbeaten streak. They're facing Kamloops tonight, who've won 9 of their last 10. Those are the top 2 teams. The Winterhawks have stumbled along. They've lost 7 of their. They've won 2 in a row, but they stumbled and have been on a little bit of losing streak, losing 7 of their last 10. Prince George is in 4th at 65 points, and you got Everett at 63, Tri-City at 63, and Vancouver is 53. They've all clinched playoff spots. It's that final spot between Kelowna, looking like Kelowna trying to get that, and Victoria, as we're just in the final few games with the in the WHL here, and setting that up in terms of the year, and getting playoff games set. Should be some interesting matchups. Of course, you have Kamloops that's hosting the Memorial Cup, so they get that automatic bye into the Memorial Cup. But final 10 games, 68 game season. So lining that up in terms of games tonight in the WHL. We've got a total of 3. You've got the Brandon Wheat Kings taking on the Prince Albert Raiders. And then you've got the Winnipeg Ice hosting the Medicine Hat Tigers there. And you've got, as mentioned, the Kamloops Blazers heading to Seattle to take on the Thunderbirds. Those games are actually not tonight. They are tomorrow. So those are games to watch tomorrow. No games tonight in the WHL. No games tonight in the AHL as well. So that is what's going on. And that will be the news pack for today, Monday, pardon me. It is Monday, March the 6th. Of course, you can follow us all individually on Twitter. Sean Beardy Canuck 03, Tyler TNOBLE, Chris Schneids SCHNAIDZ, Devin Gordhow 09. Do have a podcast plan. We'll get the schedule together. Should be Thursday, Wednesday, later in the week. Watch out for that. So we chat all things Flames, all things Canucks, and all things hockey. Devin, as mentioned, Gordhow 09. Of course, you can follow me, KEVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Also, subscribe, and all of that. Say all the nice things that you can. Check out the Fireside Chat. Dan and Matt had a good chat about the Flames trade deadline acquisitions, the booing that happened this weekend in Calgary. That is up on all platforms as well. But thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We will talk to you very soon. Bye for now.